1989. It was a great year. The Cold War came to an end. Dalai Lama won the Nobel Peace Prize. Sachin Tendulkar made his debut, facing Wasim and Waqar in Karachi, and the rest was history. But wait, amongst the 2 crore kids born in India that year, there was also this mischievous brat of a kid born to a wonderful couple in Bombay. Now Mumbai, yes, that's me. A very good morning to the esteemed panelists of SYB 34 at SPJIMR. It is my privilege to present to you today. Fast forward to 2010, I was 21 years old. Not a baby anymore. I graduated from Symbiosis University, Pune, and was ready to face the real world. Later that year, my MBA applications didn't work out, so I thought of taking up a job. I cracked a couple of interviews, but I did not feel inspired by the first few opportunities that came my way. I happened to go to Dad's office one day and got very excited with the new vertical he had started in business, LED lights. I requested him if he could allow me to work in his business, and he agreed. My dad allowed me to join the business only on my promise that I would continuously learn and study for life. This is how it began, my 6-year stint at LED lighting. Now, rewind to 1999, I was in grade 5, and most of my afternoons and evenings post-school would be spending with my grandfather. He built a family business for all of us from the very scratch after a tumultuous decade, including the partition of the country during the independence. I heard things from him like slow but sure, a bird in hand is better than two in the bush, and he always sang the song to me. The true wealth I inherited from him was in his sermons, and management started pretty young. The wisdom I inherited through these memories acted as a great wealth and is only compounding still. Fast forward to 2017, the business at Inlight was growing steadily, and being a 28-year-old, I was enthusiastic but also impatient and couldn't wait to gain more experiences. I requested my father if I could step out and take some experience in the field of marketing and sales. Dad, being who he is, like always, encouraged me to go forth, and I brought it forward. For the next 4 years, I worked for a couple of companies where I headed business development teams and cracked deals for the likes of Maruti, Ford, Panasonic, for marketing and promotions. And then there was chaos. We all locked down in 2020, the strangest time of my life, of all our lives. But then, it was now or never. And I started with one more zero. It was a startup in the outsourced sales consulting space, and it hit the ceiling and didn't work. And I pivoted. I only learned after coming here at SYB as to why. Much before though I came into SYB, I had already started HRYR, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. HRYR is my pivoted startup just pre-SYB, and it is in the space of recruitment and training. I'll just take you to the slides now. So, as I mentioned, we are into recruitment and training, but we started off only being in recruitment, right? Training is something that came up later. I'll come to that. So, why training? So, starting off with who is our customer? Startup founders, VPs or directors of mid to large SMEs, and HR managers in corporates with smaller HR teams. Now, this also clarity has come in only after SYB. Before I came into SYB, I wanted to crack the biggest names in the country. So, there's laser focused clarity as far as who my customer is today. What is the problem we are solving? So, let me start off with startup founders, the problem one. Now, this is something which I have discovered in the process, where the problems come in and they are actually bearing the repercussions of these things. Startups are not initially well known. in the beginning. So they are not able to get good talent because the really good talent consider joining startups to be risky, and they prefer a brand on their CV rather than a startup. And the second problem which I felt is which I have realized is the bigger one is hiring decisions at startups are often rushed and not well thought out, and they're not defined and they're not stitched well together within their teams. Moving to SMEs, when I say SMEs, this also includes large enterprises, not just enterprises up to 500 crores, maybe even right up to 2000 crores as well in revenue. The first problem is that the roles and designations are unclear. They have a certain longevity in the business. They have a certain legacy in the business. So there is a little bit of confusion in terms of how at every stage there is a certain evolution that takes place. And before searching, the clarity does not come in. So when we don't know where exactly we are looking, that is the biggest problem in the first place. The second thing is due to lack of processes, which are typically found in the larger corporate. There are high chances that the candidate may feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed and may leave. So that's not a successful hire. A successful hire is not just someone who comes on day one. It's also someone who stays and adds value in the system. And the third one is corporates with smaller HR teams. Actually, I have learned this after being in business for around a year and a half here. Feedback is multi-party and it is lost in translation. So I hear one person saying something about the candidate and the other person saying another thing about the candidate, and they are not speaking to each other. And the interview process is not linear and it gets confusing for everyone. So that is the experience that I have, and a lot of things are confusing, they are lost in translation, and most of the times the hire happens due to considerations which are not merit-based. They are based on either time or timeline. That eventually happens. There R2, R3 has happened, we are waiting now, we don't know what to do, let's close the position. So solutions, now none of these solutions are proprietary. They are not something I can own. They are not tech. They are something which I bring forth because I am at this point of time a small business. For a startup founder, we basically invest a lot in employer branding through our brand. So we are investing a lot in making our brand more visible out there. So all the candidates who come via our channel know that there is a legitimate process and there is a legitimate organization hiring, and that itself is an advantage to. It's an advantage to someone who's applying. And consulting founders on roles, teams, and designations, having difficult conversations right up front. That's something that I do, for which I do not take up the position at all. SMEs, consulting on roles, designations, and salary. So a lot of legacy companies have this system of paying lower salaries because there have been people who have who value loyalty and have been sticking on for a long time. But then they also get other perks and benefits, like maybe their children or siblings' marriage is funded, right? So that is a very big deal for which employees stay on. But a new employee will not join at that kind of a pay scale. So again, having that mindset challenge and confronting that right up front, plus training. Now that is something I will come to in the next few slides. With corporates with smaller HR teams, currently it entails a lot of manual coordination that we have to do because that process is something we are not able to create any intervention to. But the problem is yet to be solved, and this is very exciting. This is where I feel going forward I could maybe brainstorm a tech product where in terms of multi-party approvals and streamlining that entire process, that could become very, very advantageous for them to have someone like us on board. Not just the corporates with smaller HR teams, but it could also kind of become a tool for corporates with larger HR teams, but helps everyone be on the same page in reality. Unfair advantage, we are using AI-based ATS, which we have enhanced further through no-code technology, which not a lot of other recruitment companies are doing. So as of now, we are having speed. I'm sure that everyone is going to catch up anyway. So we'll have to think of the next step. And allied services, workshops, trainings, and starting. Now you can see two pictures here. There is a certain level of knowledge. I'm sure it is not like how not as much as women's brother, but certain level of AI knowledge that I have. And one of the clients requested if we can do ChatGPT training for their entire team in Mumbai and in Dehradun. And the request was that it needs to be done in Hindi. Now that has opened up an altogether new avenue for me, where I am now delivering ChatGPT trainings in Hindi. That creates another opportunity where it is a leveler, where someone who is in a pharmaceutical company like this, when reaching out to third party, there might at one point of time be no difference between them and the employees of a client. Right? So that is a leveler, and that is a new discovery that I have made while being in a conversation with one of the stakeholders. The revenue model, actually on success fee, dedicated recruiters and stage-wise assistants. And stage-wise assistance is generally open, so I keep it fluid. That's also a low-cost ticket, more of like an entry ticket into an organization. GTM strategy, right now I'm finding that there is only via referrals this category. I have tried performance, I have tried BD, but referrals work like great. I mean, it's 100% conversion on every referral I have got till now, and I can count on it. Like I can count them on my fingers and tell you. Going forward, focusing on one segment, healthcare and pharma is researched to be a very, very high interest category for recruitment in the next 5 years, where we are looking at right now around $13 billion market in India, recruitment business, but by 2030 it's expected to go to 40. So healthcare is supposed to be the leader, so that's something that I will be looking at, apart from the AI tools as well, which I would want to create. Milestones, at this point of time, last year, before I pivoted, I was at 18 lakhs in revenue. In 23-24, I am projected to close at 20 lakhs. I'm on track to do that. 24-25, I am looking at hitting 50, and the following year at 1.5. Funding, I just received a small debt financing from family and friends. I'm very kicked about it. I got 2 lakhs. I have a 50% debt utilization. I didn't need it before this, but I have also solved the mindset challenge at SYB and started taking more risk. I was still in salary mode. So I've started taking more risk, and I have already seen so much of growth coming in. Without even utilizing the fund, it was just a mindset shift. So some of the testimonials from some of our clients which have come in. I'm open to feedback, questions, referrals. Thank you so much.